Hi there, and thanks for joining me again for this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. I've continued my journey around South Thailand, where I've been visiting some of the most famous beach destinations in Southeast Asia. I started in Koh Samui, of course, the destination of our LiveAway program next January. I continued on to the Phi Phi Islands in the famous Phang Nga Bay. I'm now here in Phuket, on the Andaman Sea. And Phuket is probably the most well-known tourist island, certainly in Thailand, if not in the whole region. I actually lived here some time ago, and I wanted to come back and see what's changed and whether this might be a place that we would either visit on one of the excursions from Koh Samui or maybe even have a live-away on its own. The coastline here on the Andaman Sea, which is part of the Indian Ocean, is truly spectacular, particularly right now. Of course, in COVID times, as you can see, we've got miles of beach with hardly a soul on it. Of course, that's not the way it is in normal times, but I do love this coastline. Phuket is a very busy, very densely populated island, I must say. There's well over 1 million people that live here, and as a result, it's not my first choice as far as a destination, only because it has lost a little bit of its charm as a typical Thai village, like we'll find in parts of Koh Samui and the surrounding islands. And so it had me asking the question, what makes for a great live-away destination? Of course, we've just had our webinar about Madeira, another spectacular island in the Atlantic Ocean, which has its own charm, its dramatic rocky coastline and tall mountains and volcanoes and fantastic Portuguese food and a host of other reasons. And so for me, it's really about community, because let's face it, we are a community. We want to go and travel out and visit and learn about other communities around the world. And this is why that I think that while there are some fantastic places to visit around here in Thailand, I think that we've made the right choice with Koh Samui, and certainly our members would seem to agree. We've had a resounding number of bookings, actually more than I expected, for this trip, which means all things being equal, we should be able to go there next January, and we'll have a marvelous time. And the weather, of course, is absolutely spectacular. But I won't say any more about that. I know back home it's a little more challenging this winter, notwithstanding, of course, all of the issues with the pandemic. But all that being said, we have our next live-away webinar. That's the third in our series, which is coming up this coming Thursday, the 25th of February at our usual time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be talking about yet another island, this time Cyprus, in the eastern part of the Mediterranean, not far from the coast of Turkey. And Cyprus, once again, a very unique place that most travelers have never been to before. And much like here, there are spectacularly turquoise blue waters that are crystal clear, and also some stunning coastline with very white sand beaches. But what's most interesting about Cyprus is that unique local culture. Of course, the island being divided between the Greek part of the island in the south and the Turkish part, which is, of course, contested and very controversial, but all adds to make it a very, very interesting place. And that's what we like. We like to visit unique destinations around the world. So lots in store. If you weren't able to catch either of our webinars on Koh Samui or Madeira, you can find replays to both in the blog below. And of course, you still have time to sign up for our Cyprus webinar happening this coming Thursday. And I'd love to see you there and get all of your questions answered, and perhaps you'll join us to one of these terrific programs that we have in store. So I look forward to coming back to you again next week, and so I'll say sayonara here from beautiful Phuket on the Andaman Sea, and I'll be back with you next week from my usual location back in Koh Phangan.